Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to our Breakfast for Bioengineers, Finland-US cooperation on clean technologies and the circular economy of the future. Today, over the next hour and a half, we will be featuring leading companies that showcase the bio and circular economy from Finland. We'll have an incredible fireside chat from leaders in the US and Finland on the circular economy, and we will open up for hopefully a robust question and answer session from you, all of our participants. I will be your moderator today. My name is Victoria Herman, and I am the Managing Director of the Arctic Institute, a nonprofit based in Washington, D.C., with a team of researchers across North America and Europe working for a more sustainable Arctic. As we begin today, I highly encourage you to tweet, post, share this event with a much wider audience by posting selfies or using quotes on Twitter with the hashtag Breakfast for Bioengineers, so we can retweet you and share again with a much bigger audience. As we begin, one note of housekeeping, and to help us keep this webinar a bit more interactive. Attendees, we do want to hear from you. Even though I can't see you, I very much want you to be a part of the conversation. Please locate the question box or the question mark icon if you are using a mobile device and click on that and type any short question you have for the keynote speaker and company presenters. We will be monitoring that box and sharing those questions with our panelists at the question and answer session towards the end of our program today. If your question is for one speaker in particular, please type their name within your question. Now, this webinar is being recorded, and all or portions of it may be shared in the future by the Foreign Ministry of Finland. So I think that is enough housekeeping for the day. I am so excited to get this event up and running. And to do that, I now have the honor of introducing our first speaker, who will give some opening remarks and really provide a framework for the next hour and a half. I will introduce Ambassador Mika Koskinen, the Consulate General of Finland in New York, who will give some context to what we're talking about and a bit from his own experience. Ambassador Koskinen, I will hand the virtual mic over to you now.
Good morning, good afternoon, our Bioengineer friends around the world. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. We are honored to host this virtual breakfast for Bioengineers together with our colleagues at the Embassy in Washington, D.C. and Business Finland. Finland is leading the world in the refocusing of its forest industry, creating solutions for the circular economy, and working hard to reach its goal to be carbon neutral by 2035. At this moment, as we make plans on recovering from the current COVID crisis, we must redouble our efforts to promote a clean and sustainable recovery. International partnerships like the ones we have with the states of Maine and Michigan here in the US play a big role in promoting the development of modern bioeconomy and clean technologies. Bringing together experts and businesses from both sides of the Atlantic will boost the competitiveness of the transatlantic economy and help Finland and the US stay at the cutting edge of the new technologies and future innovation. We are extremely impressed by the work of both of these states and excited to continue our constructive collaboration. Today's event is an official side event to SITRA's World Circular Economy Forum. SITRA is the Finnish Innovation Fund, an independent public foundation that focuses on future-oriented study and research and promotes a fair and sustainable future. I would like to use this opportunity to warmly thank Mrs. Krista Mikkonen, Finland's Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, for joining us today from Helsinki to share her views on how our government works to reach ambitious climate targets and promotes policies that enable a successful modern bioeconomy and circular economy. She will be joined in a fireside discussion by Maine's Commissioner for Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, Amanda Beale. We look forward to hearing Maine's plans for climate action and how we might work more together to promote opportunities in bioeconomy. Welcome and thank you, Amanda. We are also delighted to have Mr. James Ward, VP for Innovation at the University of Maine, here with us today, sharing his viewpoints on the current bio and circular economy opportunities in Maine and in the US. In my role as a Consul General, I'm privileged to become acquainted with excellent pioneering Finnish companies and research work all the time, and their innovations continue to amaze me. Today's presenters are no exception. Thank you, all company representatives and Christina Cruz of Aalto University for showcasing the wonderful work you do. And last but not least, my special thanks to our excellent moderator, Victoria Herman, the President and Managing Director of the Arctic Institute. Mrs. Herman is a long-standing partner of Finland, and we have cooperated on several projects over the years. I want to warmly thank you for your partnership in Arctic issues and climate action and for leading today's discussion. So welcome everyone. Thank you for once more for joining and enjoy the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Koskinen, for that warm welcome and for giving everyone a roadmap to what we will be doing over the next hour and a half. When I was invited to moderate this fireside chat and virtual event, I thought back to my first trip to Finland in 2016. It was one of those bright early summer days just above the Arctic Circle. And I was with a group of transatlantic scientists and scholars working on sustainable development. After a long day of business meetings and government dialogue, we made a fire to cook dinner over and share stories around. Though we all came from different backgrounds, different disciplines, and different parts of Europe and North America, we shared a common ambition to build a more sustainable future. As Arctic researchers, we witnessed firsthand the cost of unsustainable practices. The high north is warming at roughly 3 times the rate of the global average. Climate change is not some distant threat in the Arctic. It is already an everyday, life-threatening reality. The 4 million people who call the Arctic home, including those in the United States and Finland, live in a continual state of emergency, facing threats to their families' health, to their food security, and to local economies that support global fishing, mining, and shipping. But as young professionals, practitioners, and Indigenous knowledge holders, we also knew around that fire that we had an incredible opportunity to invent and implement just climate solutions and to reimagine a more equitable circular economy, a regenerative system that eliminates waste in all of its forms. Today, 4 years after that first trip, climate change and environmental degradation pose an even greater challenge. This July, Arctic sea ice hit an all-time low. In June, heat waves rippled across the Arctic, with the Siberian Arctic at an all-time high for the Arctic Circle of 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And Arctic wildfires now rage so fiercely that they burn from one summer through the winter into the next without dying. Despite these catastrophic impacts, there is also a great opportunity today to transition to a more sustainable future. In view of the urgent need to make our economies more sustainable and the enormous growth potential of clean technologies and the green economy, governments need to support research, innovation, and the industrial transformation needed to transition to that circular economy. Luckily, we have leaders like Minister Mikkonen and Commissioner Beale who are not only leading that transition by implementing successful clean tech and circular economy programs in Finland and Maine, but share courage, compassion, and a deep commitment to environmental conservation. Minister Mikkonen first became interested in environmental issues during her upper secondary studies, when she organized environmental days at her school. She has dedicated her career to the conservation of the environment, biodiversity, education and equality, and combating poverty. Under hers and others' national leadership, Finland is truly a global pioneer in its 2030 goal of carbon neutrality. Likewise, across the Atlantic, Commissioner Beale's relationship to working landscapes and the bioeconomy began early, growing up on her family's commercial dairy farm in Litchfield, Maine. While she still owns a 35-acre farm and is working to develop a creamery for on-farm cheese production, she is also a bioeconomy pioneer as Commissioner of the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry, where she promotes Maine's agricultural resources in a circular way, protects and enhances nearly 18 million acres of forested land, and manages more than 700,000 acres of state parks and public lands. Today, each leader will share their experiences and look beyond the current take, make, waste, extractive industrial model to create a circular economy in Maine and Finland that redefines growth and focuses on positive society-wide benefits. This fireside chat will discuss the enablers for a modern bio and circular economy in Finland and Maine, and what we can do together to build that more sustainable future. Now, to start us off, our two leaders will offer some opening remarks, and then we will open it up to more of a discussion-based format. So it is now my pleasure to introduce these two leaders. Ms. Krista Mikkonen, who is Finland's Minister for the Environment and Climate Change, and Ms. Amanda Beale, Commissioner of Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry for the state of Maine. I will first hand this virtual mic over to Minister Mikkonen to share a few opening remarks.
Thank you a lot, and many greetings from Finland, and good morning to you. And thank you for the possibility to participate this breakfast for pioneers, even though it's almost already dinner time here in Helsinki. And thank you, Dr. Herman, for your partnership with Finland and the work you do both as a climate change advocate and to promote the Arctic issues globally and in the US. We have a shared responsibility to promote a green, sustainable recovery from the COVID-19 crisis. This challenge is also a huge opportunity to reform our economies, and I think that we should set a global example through a stronger transatlantic partnership. Finland aims to be climate neutral and an international leader in the circular economy by 2035. This way, we want to do our part in making our economy sustainable and fighting climate change. We also want to show with our own example that the climate neutral transformation is possible. We are glad that in the US we have found strong partners in promoting the green economy. I strongly believe that the green economy and clean technologies offer a possibility to boost our competitiveness create new jobs, and increase the well-being of our people and nature. This thinking is proudly shared by Finnish industries and companies. We have, for example, developed sectoral low-carbon roadmaps together with the key ministries and our energy-intensive industries, including the chemical, technology, forest, and energy industry. These roadmaps provide important information about the emission reduction potential in each sector, and we will make use of them while drawing up scenarios in support of climate and energy policies. They also show Finnish industry's commitment to climate action. This webinar is an official side event of the World Circular Economy Forum, which was first organized in Finland in year 2017. Hopefully, when the event will next year be organized in Toronto, many of you, our partners in the US, are able to join us there. Today's themes include the circular economy, bioeconomy, and new sustainable innovations that come from wood and forests. The forest sector has much promise as we move from the fossil-based economy towards a circular economy based on sustainable produced renewable materials. I'm very happy to share this virtual stage with Commissioner Amanda Peel from the state of Maine. Maine and Finland have much in common. I have never visited, but I'm told that it's beautiful and looks much like Finland. Both are mostly covered in forests and both share a special affinity to nature. Maine and Finland have signed a memorandum of understanding recently with the aim of cooperating in the promotion of modern forest bioeconomy. We have signed a similar partnership agreement with the state of Michigan in the clean technology and bioeconomy fields. By bringing together the brightest research minds and most innovative companies through these transatlantic partnerships, we can help advance global success of innovative products and services with a sustainable handprint. You will see and hear some excellent examples of these today in the company showcases. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. And as someone who has had the pleasure of visiting both Finland and Maine, I can agree with you that they are very similar, and they are both pretty incredible places that I hope to go back to very soon. Commissioner Beal, I ask that you now come on to provide your opening remarks, and then we'll move into our discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here this morning. I'm really excited to participate in this program. I also want to express our deep appreciation here for the partnership with Finland and the collaboration. And we really look forward to building on and growing opportunities to learn from you. And I would say that we would be pleased to host you, Minister, and others from Finland in Maine one day. And I too will look forward to the day that I can visit Finland. So the topic that we're here to discuss today is one that is of great importance to Maine, as our agricultural and forest lands, or our working lands, as we say, are the foundation of our state's green economy. Within these industries, or within these lands and the industries that they support, lies great potential for the future of our state. This is something we knew well before the COVID-19 pandemic erupted and has only come into sharper focus since then. Our agriculture and forestry sectors were deemed essential at the start of the pandemic. So while many other types of businesses were shut down, those producing food, fiber, and forest products continued to operate, supplying us with products and materials that are central to our everyday lives. I have long believed that our natural resource-based industries are some of the most enduring sectors of our economy, albeit there have been ups and downs, but we recognize how fortunate we are to have such a rich natural resource base in Maine, and we are committed to supporting growth and innovation opportunities as a result. These resources are also incredibly important in our work to address climate change and increase carbon sequestration. Our governor, Janet Mills, has set some important goals for Maine to meet in the coming years to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2030 and at least 80% by 2050. She has also signed legislation to increase Maine's renewable portfolio standard to 80% by 2030 and set a goal of 100% by 2050. Encouraging bioeconomy solutions is a critical piece of this work, and our forests already play a big role, but there's even more that we can do on this front. And in fact, the role of forestry in Maine really illuminates the potential that exists here. So I will talk a bit more about that sector to illustrate this point. As Dr. Robert Wagner, former forestry professor at the University of Maine and director of the Centers for Forest Research and Forest Sustainability, said, "Wood is the most environmentally sound material on Earth. It is renewable, highly versatile, grown with relatively little effort, carbon friendly, and it's produced and stored as forests that provide clean air, water, wildlife habitat, biodiversity, recreation, and beautiful vistas." Maine's 18 million acres of forests are both a massive carbon sink and a vast resource that supports a diverse and vibrant forest economy, directly employing nearly 19,000 people and contributing over $5.2 billion annually to the state's economy. Including indirect and induced effects, Maine's forest industry supports nearly 40,000 jobs and $8.2 billion in total output. Overall growth in Maine's forests exceeds annual harvest and has for quite some time. Roughly half of Maine's forests are certified as well managed by the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, Forest Stewardship Council, and American Tree Farm System. Our diverse forest industry, from biomass energy to pulp and paper to lumber to engineered wood products, supports actively managed forest lands that help maintain forest carbon stocks, protect water quality and biodiversity. And Maine's forested watersheds provide clean water that fills rivers, streams, lakes, and wetlands, sustains fisheries, and flows from faucets of homes and businesses. Maine's forests are critically important to the supply of clean and affordable drinking water. In fact, one of Maine's largest public water supplies is one of only about 50 watersheds in the United States with a federal filtration exemption because of the protection afforded by the heavily forested watershed. Maine's foresters and loggers do a very good job of protecting water quality through effective planning and application of best management practices to protect water quality. Forest management is recognized as a beneficial land use for water quality. The Acadian forests of Maine are incredibly diverse and resilient. As long as we keep our forests as forests and in active management, we have the potential to sustain a vibrant economy that benefits the state, New England, and the rest of the world. Maine's forest economy has encountered numerous challenges over the past several years, including global decline in pulp prices, a devastating explosion at a pulp and paper mill that handles an estimated 18% of our state's annual harvest, and most recently, this global pandemic. But despite these challenges, significant progress has been made by groups such as For Maine, whose leadership in economic development in this sector has helped pave the way for substantial capital investment and diversification, as well as new legislation that offers tax credits for renewable chemical production and biofuels and new business support. For Maine is currently in the process of implementing a Forest Opportunity Roadmap, a strategic plan to grow our forestry sector to a $12 billion industry by 2025. They are actively engaging with a wide variety of stakeholders, spanning education, industry, communities, nonprofits, and state government. And thinking about enablers and/or drivers for a modern bio and circular economy and how governments can best support that transition, there are several mechanisms that come to mind. Climate change is certainly a driver, as we know that we need to act to develop low carbon solutions to many of the issues that are driving climate change today. We can lead, as Maine's government has, by convening and developing strategies in service to our climate goals and getting people to work together. We can also be looking to replace products with a higher carbon footprint and with products that have a lower carbon footprint. And we can also implement strategies on our natural and working lands and in our transportation, energy, and other sectors to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Another driver and enabler are more conscientious consumers, and I think we have room to build on demand for more sustainable choices in the marketplace. There's also the recognition that some of our resources are quite finite and that we need to be better stewards of those resources. And policy, certainly, we can reward good practices and likewise enact policies that support market-based solutions. And of course, let's not forget technology and innovation as very important parts of this picture. So all of these factors are encouraging us to move in the direction we are headed in, and we believe the rewards for doing so will be great. In closing of my opening remarks, I will emphasize that it is vital that we continue to approach management of forests and mains forest products economy with a focus on sustainable and responsible practices. Environmental as well as workforce sustainability will remain key priorities. Maine has much to learn from the experience of our friends in Finland, and we look forward to supporting collaboration related to opportunities within the bioeconomy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Beal, and I hope that this conversation is a bit of a catalyst to that learning and cooperation. And with that in mind, I will ask Minister Mikkonen to rejoin us on the screen, and for all of our guests to imagine that there is a roaring fire next to us to start off this fireside chat. My first question is, both of you mentioned the pandemic, the fact that we are meeting virtually right now. And COVID-19 brings incredible challenges, but also an opportunity to reimagine what comes next. So I would love to hear from both of you what you think comes next. And maybe Commissioner Beal, you can talk a bit about our relationship with rural communities and rural economies. And Minister Mikkonen, maybe about the reimagining of Finland's economy and how successful thinking about the circular economy in Finland as a pioneer has been. Commissioner Beal, do you want to start us off?
Certainly, and I think it's sort of ironic that my automatic lights have turned off. Well, they had turned off, now they've turned back on again, but I did look like I was sitting next to a fire for a moment there. Yes, so in terms of COVID-19 and where we go from here, I guess I would say that, you know, challenges that have been faced by our industries, including market disruptions that have been triggered by COVID-19, really require that we adapt and become more resilient. And an important strategy for doing that is to diversify our markets and our products, as well as operational scales, and to be looking at natural resource resilience. And I think we can better position the sector, particularly our forest product sector, in a way that encourages a more sustainable and prosperous future. And I guess in terms of the piece about rural communities, I think a lot about rural revitalization. We have watched for many years this sort of outmigration that has happened when there have been downturns and there have been losses of jobs and opportunities in these rural places that end up driving people to seek work in other places and also have a really detrimental impact on those communities and the strength of those communities. And I see the opportunity in supporting, bioeconomy solutions and in really looking at ways to innovate and support growth in in particular agriculture and forestry sectors. We have an opportunity to really strengthen job growth and manufacturing and many different types of work in these communities, in the places where the raw materials are being produced, and therefore having an impact on strengthening those communities. So there are a lot of threads that are connected here, and I think it's a really important place for us to be thinking about resilience and diversification and how we support our communities, rural and otherwise.
Minister Mikkonen?
Yes, thank you. Even though still the COVID-19 is here and we need to do a lot so we can solve the health problem itself, we must seize this opportunity to really reform our economies and build back better and greener. We all know that we need to drastically reduce the use of natural resources and the virgin raw materials, as well as put fossil fuels and largely also materials behind us. Basically, we must put our economies within the planetary boundaries. None of us are resilient before all of us are resilient. I see a future where sustainable products and services are mainstream and the sharing economy is commonplace. Our choices are future-proof and they enhance our fair welfare society. Resources efficient, circular use of sustainable produced bio-based materials is replacing fossil-based materials. We have made our way where together through innovations, digital solutions, smart regulation, and responsible investors, businesses, and consumers. And I see now when in Finland and also in European Union, we are now putting a lot of money for recovery, this COVID-19, we need to have these as a principle so we make sure that our economies are sustainable after the COVID crisis, and that's the only way that they can also be, we can have the competitiveness.
Absolutely. And I think both of you brought up some pretty similar points, which is good because there is already a strong partnership between Maine and Finland. And that's something you also both brought up, right? This new memorandum of understanding, the incredible both histories, but also natural resources that Maine and Finland share. So I think something else I'm wondering is about this transatlantic relationship. What are the key benefits of this MOU? How can we build up this relationship between Maine and Finland as a pioneering partnership to build up a bioeconomy, not just individually in these two places, but together?
Yeah, well, I think when we are having these global challenges like climate change and biodiversity loss, of course, we need international cooperation and partnerships. That's absolutely necessary for solving these huge problems. And it's important and valuable to work together at all levels between governments, regions, cities, businesses, and academia. I think we have a lot to learn from each other. The US is an innovation powerhouse, but Finland has many strong points globally, especially sectors of the green economy, clean technologies for energy and transportation, and the maritime, as well as emerging technology sectors such as AI. We are global frontrunner in circular economy solutions. With Maine, we hope to work together on these, and perhaps we could create together global solutions to booming sectors such as wood construction and products made from the nanocellulose.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that all of those points are so important. I wanted to say I do really appreciate all of the work that has been done, particularly since the pandemic. I know that we had some interactions and some opportunities lined up to visit with one another and to learn on site more about each other. But you know, there's been some really good work done to bring all of this online, and perhaps even to be able to involve more people than might have been able to participate in these discussions if we had been doing in-person visits. However, I do think that some of the activities that have already been underway or are ready to be launched are going to be really important going forward. The virtual trade and study missions, the business matchmaking activities, and and the organizing of Finland Main working groups, where we can really dig in and talk about some of the ways in which we can work together. So I'm excited about moving forward in all of those directions and continuing this conversation. I think this is a really rich relationship, and I'm very, very excited about it.
And I see that we are quickly taking up our time. So maybe one final question from me. And in this conversation, we have taken for granted that the bioeconomy and the circular economy is the best choice. There are lots of approaches to achieve sustainability. And maybe as a closing remark, each of you can talk about why the bioeconomy, why the circular economy, why are we all here today, and we'll be hearing from Finnish companies in just a bit about these two approaches. Minister, do you want to start us off?
Yes, well, like I said earlier, I see that we really need to think how we live on this planet, and we need to live within the boundaries of the planet. And we know that the use of the materials is one thing we need to rethink, and of course we need the use of the renewable materials is the key solution for that. And of course we need to use it in that amount which is sufficient, so we don't use it more than it's growing. And of course this bio-based materials is a key solution, but it's not only that, it's also that we need to use it very efficiently and make sure that we don't waste anything. So when we put our economy in a circular way, that's the solution for many problems. And also we need to get rid of the fossil energy, and we need to use energy very efficiently, and that's the one key element of the circular economy as well.
That's very well said. I don't even know if I could add a lot to that, but I guess I would just say, you know, I think a lot about resilience, both of our environment and our economy, and I think this really is a pathway to building more resilience. And also, as I mentioned earlier, you know, many of our resources are finite, and we want to be sure that we're managing them well, and that they are also resources that can be utilized and, you know, in future generations, and they can benefit from this rich natural resource base that we have. So we need to care for it well. And the last point is just around, you know, this planet is only so big, and there are so many people on it, and we really need to focus on how we manage waste and what opportunities we have to turn waste streams into inputs for other types of production. And so there's a lot to be gained here, and I think this is the pathway we need to be walking down.
Commissioner Beale, Minister Mikkonen, thank you so much for this enriching conversation and providing us with a pathway for what comes next. I hope that our audience has been as inspired as I have and are going to take these lessons and insights and find the courage and compassion and commitment that each of you have to enact a more sustainable and circular future. Thank you so much. We're now going to move on to the next portion of our program today. As we do that, a reminder that we want to hear from you. Please put your questions in the question box or hit that question icon as you are listening to our keynote speaker and our panelists to come. And remember to tweet out you being here today with that Breakfast for Bioengineers hashtag. It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Jade Ward, the VP of Innovation at the University of Maine, who will speak on current bio and circular economy opportunities in Maine and the US at large. Mr. Ward, I will hand over my virtual mic.
Great, thank you, Victoria, and thank you everybody for joining us today and having me here to make a few remarks on the circular and bioeconomy. It's certainly a a hard act to follow. The previous speakers who are very, very articulate and passionate about this topic area, and I think have set a good stage for the ongoing conversation. I'd like to start out just saying that as the state of Maine, reiterating some of the points that Commissioner Beal made, is that Maine is the most heavily forested state in the U.S. and our forest-based economy is historic from the earliest settlers. And thus, what we've built already is an incredible platform to grow and expand the bioeconomy from. The large percentage of commercially managed forest and sustainable forest, and the existing companies that are here who are at scale, who've made significant capital investments to really manage and maintain our forest as part of our economy and employ people and maintain the natural environment as it is. As we look forward to the ideas of a circular economy and bioeconomy, as Commissioner Beal mentioned, we formed For Maine as a very unique public-private partnership, industry-led participation by landowners, state, universities, commercial companies, and communities. And I want to really emphasize the community piece, because having a manufacturing environment or a commercial sector living hand in hand with the community not only provides jobs and economy, but supports the overall rural community. And the rural communities are very protective of their environment, their community, their resources. So it's a unique partnership that is really looking at how to grow our forest-based sector from 8.2 billion a year with ambitions to get to 12.5 billion, and do that primarily compatible with existing uses and looking at innovation and new technologies to take advantage of the resources that are there that are underutilized, and perhaps provide an opportunity to bring new biomaterials, bioproducts to the market, and hopefully displace some of the other less sustainable, less renewable technologies. Again, having the private sector very committed to certified sustainable forests, because these resources are their bread and butter, and they are looking at them for generations and generations. Many of the private landowners are 5-6 generations deep and go back to the ownership when Maine first became a state. One of the things that For Maine has done most recently is a report on market opportunities. It's available on the web. It was done by the consulting company Indafor. It's called Strategic Investment and Traction Plan for Maine's Forest Industry. It was just released in September. And that really does provide an outline of how and where the markets are internationally, nationally, the growing demand for biomaterials, and the opportunities to be compatible with Maine's forest sector. So that is it's a great part of our roadmap. And again, For Maine is about getting things done, not just studying things forever. So we are launching that as an attraction package as we go now. A lot of it is focused on new and emerging technologies, and technologies that can be built, as I said, on the existing platform that is already there. As we know, and I'm sure some of the panelists will talk, some of these technologies are required significant capital investments to go to scale. And so the fact that they can piggyback on existing mill complexes or harvesting complexes or even market channels, the better the chances they get to a wide distribution sooner than later. As the University of Maine, we are heavily focused in our R&D in this R&D in the forest product sector. We're the state's largest public university with about 11,600 students. And we have a large R&D program in many different programs that really look at the whole forest sector, whether it's the management of the silviculture, the wildlife, the recreation and tourism, all the way through to nanoscale materials that can be derived from the wood-based biomass. I'd just like to highlight a few of those technology areas, because I think they are very compatible with everything that Finland is looking at as well. And certainly the mention of nanocellulose. We are very, very, very deep in nanocellulose. We have a large IP portfolio on CNF production and a collaboration with Valmet to try to commercialize that. We have a pilot plant that's 1 to 2 ton per day, and we provide the base CNF material all over the world as a research material as people develop additional applications. Our applications are largely focused on pulp and paper, packaging, construction materials, and reinforcement of thermoplastics, but we're also investigating some of the biomedical applications as we go forward. We have facilities that allow new innovators, whether it's our technology or new companies such as the ones on the panel, to actually demonstrate and trial and evaluate. So our pulp and paper pilot plant is a fully operational pilot plant. It's one of the few in the country that does all the unit operations, but we have evolved that into bioproducts. And so as we look at new materials, we can use all of the utilities there at near commercial scale or commercial relevant trials. And we do a lot of work annually with companies all over the world utilizing that facility. Along with our pulp and paper program, though, I also want to point out that we have great resources in our students. We're the oldest pulp and paper program country in the US. And one of our big things is our co-ops. We put students in working in companies all throughout the United States and international opportunities as well. So there may be some great opportunities to expand our co-op with companies such as those on the panel. We have the world's largest 3D printer. It was announced about a year ago, and we are printing large structures. Our capacity is 60 foot long and 10 feet tall and 20 feet wide. And we're primarily focused on biomaterials, the use of nanocellulose and cellulose in reinforcement with bioplastics to be able to do large scale 3D printing. We have a biofuels and biochemicals program. And again, we have a near commercial scale pilot plant. We're doing trials for drop-in fuels, drop-in replacement fuels that can go into heating and transportation tomorrow, and challenges to get it to the economic comparison to fossil fuels. We also, along with that, are looking at the biochemical extraction from biomass, and we have all those pathways, and we work regularly with large-scale companies. We have structural materials development such as CLT and advanced engineered wood composites and other types of mass timber, and are really actively promoting the mass timber and the use of wood products as carbon sequestration in the building industry, as the building industry and construction industry starts to become more aware of those issues. And then really new and exciting things are things in the biomedical technology area. We are actually using nanocellulose to develop artificial bone that can be used as implants and other activities within the body. And we have some really interesting material on the biostatic properties of biomaterials of nanocellulose and things like that. We're also using them as platforms in new sensors and sensing applications, and as interesting as fish feeds, protein derived from woody biomass. We're also very pleased to enjoy existing relationships with research organizations throughout Finland, such as Aalto, Abo Academy, LUT, University of Helsinki, and VTT. We have existing relationships that have always been around some of these forest and forest bioproducts areas. And we have company participation with companies such as Stora Enso, Valmet, Metsä, UPM, and Betulium. So I'd like to just close and say that I think there's great opportunities to really build on these existing relationships, building on these existing platforms. The recovery post-pandemic has really opened the eyes to many people about what the environment and what our footprint is, and paying attention to supply chains. And I think it's a great opportunity to really take a big leap forward in the bio and circular economy. And I really look forward to the following panelists. They've got great technologies under development and coming forward, and I think there's great opportunities to collaborate there as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ward, for that whirlwind tour of all of the incredible things that the university, but also things that are happening in Maine. And for our attendees, again, if you have questions for Mr. Ward, please put them in our question box so we can get back to them in our Q&A. Now we're going to switch across the Atlantic to highlight some Finnish bioengineers. And to get us started, I'm going to ask Juha Honkasalo to come on and talk about Step 1 Tech. Juha?
Hello, Victoria, can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Great. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and good morning to everyone. I'm Juha from Step 1 Tech, and I'm here to tell you about our circular economy enabling technology and about our company. So can I have the next slide, please? So what we are doing, we have been working on automotive clean tech for 8 years now, and the problem that we are solving is something that we just discussed about. The planet is in great danger. We have used too much fossil fuels. We have to reduce emissions. But then there's another issue, and that's that all the available solutions are pretty expensive and hard to implement. For example, electric vehicles, they are great, but only a small portion of people can afford them. Maybe most don't have access to charger and so on. We need other solutions as well. So overall, people are not ready to give up their freedom of mobility that private motoring gives to them. Can I have the next slide then? So we set out to solve this problem with our Eflex Fuel technology. It's a technology that enables current vehicle fleet to run on a more sustainable fuel. So it's a retrofit technology that can be installed to current vehicle fleet. It is the easiest and most cost-effective way to reduce the environmental impact of traffic. So can I have the next slide? So with Eflex Fuel, you can use E85 biofuel in your vehicle. And meanwhile, there's a lot of discussion about electric vehicles and so on, but also the demand for biofuels in the US has been growing steadily, and more Americans are getting interested in them. In fact, they are a considerable option for half of American drivers, but still most are not ready to invest in new vehicle. And that's where Eflex Fuel steps in. It is a solution that brings the opportunity to use biofuels in existing vehicle fleet. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is a device that can be installed to an existing gasoline or hybrid vehicle in a couple of hours, and it costs a bit over $500. And once it's installed, the vehicle can instantly use bioethanol fuel, or in the future, power-to-X fuels. So for example, in Finland, bioethanol fuel is made out of waste, and thus it's carbon neutral. And also in the future, power-to-X solutions that enable making fuel out of the carbon in the air will be compatible with this device. So there's great biofuel solutions coming up. And today we are launching actually our motorbike product, which is the first ever solution to run sustainable fuels on motorbikes and other recreational vehicles as well. Can I have the next slide, please? So here's actually an example story from France, which I want to tell you about. So France is the forerunner in reducing the emissions of traffic in a socially equal way. So what they have done is that they have made a decision to reduce the taxes of sustainable fuels in order to make them more attractive. And that's why there's actually a huge demand for circular economy solutions like ours. And what's actually great with our device and using bioethanol fuel, that it also gives more performance. So you get more engine power. So while you reduce your emissions, you'll also increase the pleasure of driving. And that is actually part of our philosophy. We think that being environmentally friendly doesn't mean necessarily that you have to give up something. It's actually just the opposite. You can gain more, just like Frank in France, who has been selling 2,000 of these to French motorists. So this is a great way to enjoy the freedom of mobility, but do it in a sustainable way. Can I have the next slide? And so there's four main value propositions for users. So first of all, this is the easiest and most affordable way to reduce the carbon footprint of private motoring up to 80%. And Then as our technology automatically adapts to different biofuels and gasoline, you can always choose which fuel to use. And thanks to that, our average customer has saved over $1,000 on fuel costs alone. And also bioethanol is made locally, so it supports local economy and energy independence as well. Then as a cherry on top, it can improve engine performance up to 15%. So then I would like to briefly tell you about our company. If I can have the next slide, please. So we are an automotive clean tech company that was founded in 2012 around the idea of enabling every driver to give up fossil fuels and change to renewables. We want to create a solution that is available to everyone, no matter their socioeconomic status or where they live. And that's why today we have a technology that's actually compatible with over 1 billion vehicles globally. And actually, Eflex Fuel has been classified by Finnish innovation fund SITRA as a more environmentally friendly solution than a new electric vehicle. So while it costs just 1% of the price of a new electric vehicle, it can reduce emissions actually a bit more. So no wonder in Finland, the government actually supports our solution, subsidizes our customers, and Sweden just made a decision that starting from 2022, they will offer this device to Swedish drivers basically for free. So no wonder, for example, in Finland, we have reduced the emissions of traffic more than the electric vehicle industry combined has been able to do. And then can I have the next slide? So here's some of our achievements. We have had over 20,000 customers, driven over 500 million miles with this invention. They have decreased their emissions equivalent to 200,000 passenger flights. This has been installed to cars and trucks and motorbikes from over 50 different brands, and it's perfectly compliant with the strictest emission standards in Europe and in the US. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Juha, for that exciting introduction of Step One Tech's world's first biofuel for the motorbike market. That is so exciting that you launched that here. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question about the presentation that you just saw, or any of our future presentations, use the question box or the question mark icon if you're using a mobile device. Click on that and type any short question you have for any of our presenters. And now I will introduce our next Bioneer from Kotka Mills. Ari Taninen, would you like to come on and present about a renewable recyclable product that you're working on?
Hello, good afternoon from Southeast Finland, Kotka, and good morning to US, and thank you for Juha for a great and impressive presentation. We are Kotka Mills, and I'm Ari Tanninen, working as Senior Vice President at Kotka Mills Consumer Boards. We actively accelerate the adoption of plastic-free options in convenience packaging with our board offering. We work with other companies in smart partnerships to offer solutions with effective environmental impact. We are committed to advancing real change for good, a future that is better for individuals, communities, and the planet. Let's see a short video on our company.
Everyone has a story, and ours is the tale of wood. You see, we are Kotka Mills, a Finnish forest products company. we also have a vision of creating sustainability through innovation. Our solutions are the future.
Can I have a next slide, please? Thank you. As said on the video, our story is the tale of wood. Our history of working with wood goes all the way back to the year of 1872, when the sawmill was founded. Over the years, we have expanded from the sawmill to 3 business lines operating as an integrate. Our range of sustainable products includes food-safe consumer boards, the high-quality saturating-based craft paper, and ecological wood products. The fully range of recyclable Eagle and Isla boards have been produced since 2016 with water-based dispersion barriers replacing plastics. Our excellent barrier boards are used in packaging and food service applications. All our products are environmentally friendly, recyclable, and safe to use. Next slide, please. Our vision at Kotkamill is to create sustainability through innovations. We believe that our solutions are the future. Everyone loves the fast-paced lifestyles, but hate the waste that is created. We all want to avoid plastic and value recyclability more and more. At Kotkamill, our job is to help everyone to enjoy the ease of convenience in a sustainable and environmentally conscious way. Our solutions help to make sustainable packaging the preferred choice for companies and consumers. Certified Nordic virgin fiber ensures the food-safe products with good strength. Our materials enable easy recyclability of the packages they are used for and allowing efficient fiber circulation. Recyclability and repulpability of our products mean that used cups and packages can easily be reused. If we look at the current challenge that 300 billion single-use cups globally are not recycled and cannot be recycled because of the material they are made of, the value is simple in avoiding resources to go to waste. The virgin fiber we use for our cup stock can be recycled up to 7 times, which makes it a highly valuable raw material. If half of those cups were replaced by Kotkamill's cup stock and then recycled, it would mean 100,000 tons of fresh fiber, and every ton of board saves 17 trees. So let's recycle, create more value from the same material, and let's not let the valuable fiber go to waste. Next slide, please. Our barrier board and folding box board products offer our customers and their customers sustainable next generation solutions. For food and drinks, we offer materials that keep the goods fresh and protected. Whether you eat at the fast food restaurant, on the move, or at your destination, we got the solutions. For goods from ice cream and frozen fish to tomatoes and salads, as well as to muesli and biscuits, we offer materials that keep the foodstuff good for as long as needed. For goods where packaging delivers half the experience, the variances count and are counted on. We have materials that both allow the clicks and, when necessary, glamour while also protecting the content inside. Next slides, please. We accelerate the change for good by working together with others. And some of our highlights of working with others are presented here from right to left. In February 2019, Kotkamiels was announced as one of the winners in the Global Innovation Initiative NextGen Cup Challenge. The challenge was launched by the NextGen Association that advanced the instruction of food packaging alternatives. We believe that this recognition is a confirmation for our commitment to revolutionize the paper cup production and recycling with our fully recyclable next generation barrier board solutions. In July 2019, we teamed up a Finnish ice hockey club to pave the way for plastic-free game events to promote sustainability in sports events. In January 2020, we signed a significant collaboration agreement with Lavazza Professional. As a result of this collaboration, Lavazza Professional presented the new special eco-friendly cup called Fix Eco Cup, made from Kotkamiels Isla Food Service Board. And 2 weeks ago, we announced our sustainability partnership with the British football club Norwich City Football Club to reduce the amount of plastic waste at the stadium. At Kotkamiels, our customers are always at the center of what we do. And not only them, also our customers' customers. Our business is driven by consumers and their changing needs. We are here to observe and listen to all the participants in the value chain, answering to your demands and expectations efficiently and safely. As said, chasing the game cup by cup. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ari. And moving now from recyclable cups to straws in our next presentation. It's my honor to introduce our next bioengineer, Mika Salomaki and Dolia. Mika?
Thank you, Victoria. Good morning, America, and good afternoon here locally. So my name is Mika Salomaki, and I'm the CEO of Dolia company. So what is this presentation all about? I would like to present you a unique, sustainable Dolia drinking straw. Next slide, please. What are consumers more and more concerned over? Yes, indeed. Environmental issues like plastics' impact on nature, finding more effective ways to use our natural resources, and of course, recycling. This graph shows well the consumers' concerns on the environmental issues. Next, please. What Dolia is doing about that? Dolia is heading to this target. We are a Finnish cleantech company providing new, unique solutions that are sustainable, recyclable, and biodegradable. Today, Dolia is not only providing drinking straws, but also drinking straw machines for converters to manufacture Dolia straws all over the world. Local production, global effect, and also low carbon footprint. Next, please. So what is Dolia's first breakthrough product? It is a Dolia drinking straw. Raw material comes from pure certified Finnish forests. And in Dolia, we have also put effort protecting our IPRs. We have a strong patent family in several countries in place. Next, please. How Dolia straw differ from ordinary paper straws? Remarkably, by providing enjoyable user experience, the mouthfeel is excellent, and you don't taste the paper. Next, please. Do you know what you are putting in your mouth? Traditional paper straws are made from paper stripes, which are wounded and glued together. Most of the consumers don't even realize that they are putting a lot of glue in their mouth when using common paper straws. Next, please. But how Dolia managed to make straws without glue? Dolia unique straws are made of sustainable, heat-sealable paperboard material that doesn't have a plastic barrier layer. The raw material is Aila Icy barrier board by Kotka-Mills. Thank you, Ari. This person-coated barrier board is handled as a monomaterial product consisting of 3-ply paperboard enhanced with the water-based dispersion layers. So that's why Dolia straws have no glue or any other harmful ingredients. Just heat added to form a straw. Because of this simple and genius method, Dolia straws are strong. They don't melt into drinks, not even hot drinks, and they are enjoyable to use. Next, please. Beyond sustainability, the design target also has been user friendliness. Next, please. And what the consumer tests has proven to us. Dolia straws are really user friendly, beating traditional paper straws all the way. Next, please. Why you also might want to choose Dolia straws? Here are a couple of reasons. Dolia straws have several competitive advantages and unique features, which has made them a very interesting option for plastic and paper straws to several international customers in food and beverage business. Next, please. Custom printed straws is one of those benefits. No other straw type can provide a fully printable surface. Printing on straws opens a totally new possibility in entertainment business, sports, branding, marketing, advertising, happenings, etc. Next, please. New fresh method to manufacture Dolia straws saves our natural resources, since approximately 25% less raw material is needed to produce a strong and long-lasting drinking straws. Next, please. Environmental benefits are the original reason for developing Dolia straws. Biodegradability in drinking straws today is considered self-evident, but the recyclability is not that clear. Almost all paper straw manufacturers claim their straws to be recyclable, but only when minor portion of these straws are mixed to other repulpering paper waste. Dolia straws alone, as plain straws, are certified as fully recyclable. Dolia Straws also has undersigned Declaration of Compliance for Food Contact Product. Next, please. What kind of strategy Dolia has? During 2020, Dolia has established the businesses in Europe. In next year, Dolia will look into expansion to US straw market, and Dolia has already started preparations to set up operations in the US. Dolia has named a representative in USA, but this will be announced a bit later in this year. With this representative, Dolia will launch a project to study US drinking straw markets and also to seek for manufacturing partners. Would you like to see Dolia as a leading straw brand in USA? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mika, and I am very excited for that next step later this year. Continuing with our waste-free future theme, I'm excited to introduce our next Finnish Bioengineer, Ami Rubinstein, and the work you are doing at Sulapak.
Thank you very much, Victoria, and good morning to everyone on my behalf as well. I'm honored to present Sulapak and our innovative material to you. My name is Ami Rubinstein and I'm the Deputy CEO at Sulapak. Sulapak is designed like nature. In our company, we believe that nature knows the best, and we are trying to mimic the nature in everything that we do. For example, the pea pod that you see in there, it's a brilliant, innovative solution to keeping the peas safe, and that's what we're trying to do with our materials as well. Next slide, please. At Sulapak, we are committed to fighting the plastic pollution, and the company was founded in 2016 by two doctors in biochemistry. And if we look at the scenario today, over 300 million tons of plastic waste is generated, or plastic products is generated each year, and very small percentage of that gets collected. And of course, even much smaller portion actually gets effectively recycled. And when we go to 2050, the amount of plastic products is going to quadruple. And still, even if we get better in the infrastructure for recycling, it's still not going to be effectively collecting the material, and still the large majority of material will end up in open environment. So we need to do something, and we need to do something today. Next slide, please. Sulapak's mission is to together save the world from plastic waste. If we all work together to find solutions, we can beat this challenge. There are different ways of fighting the plastic pollution. One of them is being the reduction of use of plastics in different applications. The other one is reusing the material for other purposes, and then of course the recycling that I mentioned in the previous page as well. But all of those three things combined are not going to be enough. So one of the new ways to help fighting that plastic waste is by replacing the traditional plastic, and that's what Sulapak is all about. Next slide, please. During the last 4 years, we have been launching a number of materials for the European market in the shape of certain end products, and then materials for our brand customers. And in 2021, we are also going to be launching more strongly in the US market, and we will be giving an announcement relating to that later on this year. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of Sulapak, sustainability is at the core of everything that we do. So all of the materials that we are producing are highly bio-based, and they will leave no microplastics behind. But sustainability by itself is not enough. One of the key features of Sulapak products and materials is that they are very beautiful with unique look and feel. Our material is a combination of wood and natural fibers, And as you can see, some of our cosmetic jars in this picture, the aesthetics are extremely high, extremely good. And we have been winning numerous awards for the design and beauty of our materials. Next slide, please. And could you click, yeah. The second part, in addition to being beautiful, is that the functionality of our materials is extremely high as well. Now, what we want to do is to help the consumers make sustainable choices without having to compromise on the usability and functionality of the materials. In the picture, you can see our Sulapak straws, which never get soggy. The usability is extremely good, and the look and the feel is premium. Now, in addition to the outstanding usability, the beauty of the Sulapak material is also in the fact that it's mass producible. You can take existing traditional plastic production lines, most of the traditional plastic production molds, and you can plug our material in there, and with certain optimization, you can use the existing equipment for producing your products out of Sulapak material. And then also there is the premium quality and feel for our products that will give you an uncompromising feel. Okay, next slide, please. Now, sustainability, as I mentioned, is at the heart of everything that we do. We are sourcing raw materials using sustainable sourcing models, and we are maximizing the bio content in all of our materials while still reaching a very high functionality. And none of our materials will release any microplastics. The manufacturing, as I mentioned, can be done using existing production lines, so there is no waste in having to invest in new factories, in new equipment, and in most cases, not even in new molds. And regardless of which end-of-life scenario our material ends up in, it will always be the best possible solution for the nature. So if we go to the next slide, please. So if we look at the different materials, we are using two different axes to look at the material, one of them being whether it releases microplastics or not. And as I mentioned, none of our materials release any microplastics, and the other one being whether it's fossil-based or bio-based. So if we're using fossil-based materials, we are wasting natural resources, and if we are using microplastic releasing materials or traditional plastics, then we are wasting a lot of, or we're littering the world. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So in the end-of-life scenarios, the organic recycling and industrial composting is the normal way of exposing of our materials. But even if our material ends up in mixed waste, it will burn cleanly into bioenergy. And even if it gets misused, if it ends up in the open environment, it will leave no microplastics behind. Next slide. And we have both end products that you can see on the left, and majority of our business is providing raw materials to different converters and brands for making their own products out of it. Next slide, please. And there are unlimited possibilities for materials made out of Sulapak. You can see some of the applications here, and if you click once more, you can see some of our customer references below there. And finally, next slide, please. We have established our way of working as a collaboration between different parties. So you can see, for example, Stora Enso, whom we launched our straw product with, Quadpack, who is our premium partner when it comes to cosmetics packaging. We have investors such as Chanel, who really believe in everything that we do, and then we collaborate with the likes of Ellen MacArthur Foundation and the European Union to make sure that we provide the most sustainable and best solutions for the planet. Thank you. Next slide.
Thank you so much, Ami. And to finish us off on our showcase today, I am now honored to introduce our final Bioneer, Christina Cruz from Aalto University. I will hand it over to you, Christina.
Yes, good morning from Aalto University, and thank you, Victoria, and also the other organizers for inviting me to take part of this event. May I have the next slide, please? My name is Christina Cruz, and I'm the Dean of the School of Chemical Engineering in Aalto. If I can have the next slide, please. Aalto University is located in Otaniemi in Espoo. We have 6 technical schools, a business school, and a school of arts and design. We have thus a very unique combination of science and art, technology and business. We are building a sustainable future by creating solutions to major global challenges. Bio and circular economy are our focus areas. We are one of the leading laboratories in materials bioeconomy, and our university is known for the culture of entrepreneurship and innovations. May I have the next, please? There is an urgent need to change the existing raw materials paradigm. Nearly 300 million tons of plastics are produced annually, like already mentioned today, of which millions of tons end up in the environment, harming marine life and other ecosystems. In the textile industry, total greenhouse gas emissions, 1.2 billion tons annually, are more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. Polyester and cotton are the main raw materials for textiles. Their production is not sustainable. When washed, some garments release microplastics, of which around 500,000 tons every year contribute to ocean pollution. This is 16 times more than microplastics from cosmetics. Renewable biomass like wood could offer a more sustainable solution for many material applications, including textile, packaging, or composites. May I have the next, please? We at Aalto University work as a catalyst for sustainable solutions. We bring researchers and companies together at an early stage of research, fast-tracking product development from lab to implementation. We are globally networked innovation cluster in a bio-based materials development. May I have the next, please? Entrepreneurial education is offered for all our students. Our unique student and alumni-driven entrepreneurial activities and a vibrant startup ecosystem include the following internationally known brands: Aalto Entrepreneurs Society, Startup Sauna, and the Slush event. May I have the next, please? Jane and Aalto's ERCO Foundation just recently granted Aalto University 10.5 million euro to establish a bioinnovation center. The center will accelerate the transition to circular and bioeconomy, create solutions for sustainable economic growth in Finland, and to educate multidisciplinary experts in the graduate school. May I have the next, please? The forest industry accounts for about 1/5 of Finland's exports of goods. According to estimates, the value of the forest biomass in Finland could be doubled by 2050 if it is used for production of high added value production. For instance, the price obtained from textile fibers is around 2.5 times the value of dissolving pulp. As paper consumption decreases, wood and pulp will also be available for other products. Finland could have a thriving textile industry that utilizes our forest biomass, high-tech, and design. This would multiply the value and employment impacts of the end products. I'd like to introduce you one of our top projects, so-called ion cell fiber. The ion cell process creates quality textile fibers from wood or recycled materials such as recycled newspapers, cardboard, or textile cotton waste. Ion cell fiber is an ecological alternative to cotton, fossil-based polyester, or viscose. If I can have the next, please. The ion cell process utilizes a solvent called ionic liquid to dissolve cellulose. In the dissolved state, cellulose can be transformed into strong fibers using so-called wet spinning technology. The only chemicals applied are the non-toxic ionic liquid and water. They are both recycled in the process in a closed loop. Ion cell fibers are very well suited to textile applications. They are strong and the touch is very nice. They also have very many excellent technical properties like a good color intake. The fiber properties of ion cell are equal or even better than viscose and tensile fibers. Because of their high tenacity, ion cell fibers are optimal in many other technical applications, such as in composites. May I have the next, please? Jenni Haukio, the First Lady of Finland, wore an Aalto University-created evening gown at the Independence Day reception in 2018. The dress was made from Finnish birch-based ion cell fibers. This is a very good example, and it shows that the fibers are suitable even for the most demanding applications. May I have the next, please? Another glowing example of our recent inventions in Aalto is the Shimmering Wood. Nature's brightest colors, like those found in peacock feathers or butterfly wings, are created through microscopically small nanostructures. When light hits these structures, our eyes preserve intense and vivid colors. Unlike traditional pigments or dyes, this color arises only from the physical structure of the material without the need for chemical compounds. The color presented here on this slide is produced by nanocellulose made 100% from wood. A very thin layer of nanocellulose on top of the surfaces. Shiny or glittery effects, very popular in fashion and design today, are usually created using toxic pigments, plastic-based materials, or metal foils. The shiny glitter, the structural color presents in a sustainable alternative to these traditional colorants. No chemicals, no metals, just a thin layer of cellulose. Also, unlike most existing dyes, structural color does not fade in sunlight. And may I have the next one? Yeah, I would like to thank you for your time and interest, and I'm happy to continue the conversation during the breakout session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina, and thank you to all of our Bioengineers and these incredible presentations. I am now going to ask all of the presenters to please turn your videos on and join me back on the screen for our question and answer session. Now, I know that we are running a bit over time, so I want to remind all of our attendees that this event is being recorded, and if you need to go, you can always catch up on the Q&A at a later time. And thank you, attendees, for all of these great questions that we have gotten throughout our presentations. We have a few already in, so maybe I will start with this one from you to Juha. So there may be a barrier to further reducing portions of gas in fuel. So this person wants to know, is there a barrier? What is that barrier to reducing portions of gasoline in fuel? Or is there an alternative for gasoline in the RE85?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So it is possible to reduce the amount of gasoline in fuel, but the current vehicle fleet is not able to use it. So that's why we have this kind of solution. So with a solution like ours, you can add more bio component to the fuel to substitute for the gasoline, but we have to bear in mind that currently the biofuel production can't make up to the need of gasoline, but there's future technologies like the ones that is in use in Finland, where you make fuel out of waste. So it's difficult, but it can be done.
Great, thank you. And we have another question for Ami about the straws. If the paper is used for straws for a chemical additive for moisture resistance, do those additives do more harm to human health and the environment? And what exactly makes this technology new and sustainable?
Just checking, was the question for me?
Yes, yeah, the
Yes,
question.
so, okay, so our straws are actually not made of paper. Our straws are made of wood and natural fibers. So in that sense, the question doesn't directly apply to our material. So our material doesn't have any paper or any additives in it.
Great, and maybe Mika, we can also get your response on this question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we are using paperboard, which is not layered, so it contains no plastic. And it's a great innovation of Kotkami's actually, this water-based dispersion. And we have made all the migration tests and heavy metal tests, and there's no findings.
Great, thank you. And maybe to conclude our Q&A, one final question for you, Jake. To what extent, if any, does the US federal government's approach to climate policy affect a state's initiative, such as partnerships with Finland?
Sorry, just trying to unmute. I think that Finland is definitely as a national organization, being able to set policy in a little bit of a better position than what the state of Maine is doing within the whole U.S. government. But certainly the activities of our current administration in the state in establishing our climate goals, climate action goals around carbon neutrality and renewable energy provide great opportunities to support the bioeconomy. And as we look at national policies evolving, some of them are going to be totally driven by economics, and some of them are going to be totally driven by environmental. And I think the future is moving in that direction in large because the consumers are demanding that. So I think we're going to see market-driven, though certain policies, renewable fuel standards and other biomaterial-related things certainly should help propel that.
And I think that maybe is a good point to end on, because it speaks to the need for all hands on deck in building a sustainable future. And I think we really saw that in all of our bioengineers, right? We talked about the need for consumer sustainability, but also the incredible innovations that each of you are pioneering in the private sector, and also from our fireside chat, the public support that the state of Maine and Finland are creating for that environment for consumers like me, but business leaders like you to imagine and implement that more sustainable, circular, and bioeconomy-based future. So I think with that uplifting note, I'm going to thank all of you again so much for your inspiring presentations, for your insights, and for sharing this time with us. And thank you to all of our attendees for tuning in across the world, taking time out of your morning, your evening in Finland to join us in this conversation. A final reminder that this is all recorded, and we hope that you share this with 10 of your colleagues and friends so that we can build more conversations and connections between the US and Finland around the bio and circular economies. Thank you all again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.
Bye.
Yes.
Thank you.